It's Jahji.
Whatever goes up must come down. What is going on, my G's and Gzettes? Welcome back to another reaction video. Today we're gonna be reacting to a Poetik Flakko video, and it's Joe Budden declaring war on DJ Akademiks by disrespecting him badly. Now I know they've had a long time friendship. They like to kind of throw little shots at each other every once in a while, I guess just to shake the rust off and stay competitive, keep each other on their toes. But I haven't heard anything of a budding rivalry between the two. As of the most recent conversation, Akademiks is more than willing to start a show with Joe Budden under the right circumstances. I'm not saying that's in discussion. I'm just saying that as of the last time Ak spoke on this, he said that he was more than willing to start a complex type of show with him. You can't be beefing with a guy you're willing to start a show with. Right? Without further ado, let's get right into it.
The Joe Budden and DJ Akademiks beef has officially begun, and I don't think it's a coincidence that Joe Budden is now dissing DJ Akademiks after that complex list came out. Joe and Ak has been throwing jazz back and forth, primarily on Joe end though. Like, Joe has been the initiator of all the slight, passive aggressive back and forths. Like when Joe Budden went out of his way, he went out of his way to discuss some type of lawsuit that Akademiks was involved in with Stake. I think it was like Drake and Aiden Rawls was the headliner. Akademiks, I think, was like listed somewhere in there. Joe Budden went out of his way to indict Akademiks, say, yep, he guilty. All right, he's gambling with fake money. He went out his way to indict Akademiks, right? And to me, it's, if Akademiks is your boy and he's in a law, what do you want to, I don't know, man. Like make sure that you're giving.
I mean, I just told you how Ak and Joe Budden love to throw little shots at each other every once in a while. I think Joe Budden knew that nothing was going to come of this lawsuit. I mean, Drake and Aiden Ross are walking free. So he knew that Akademiks being a small fish in a big pond, he wasn't going to get caught up in any legal issues. And talking about it, quite frankly, is going to bring in at least some type of views. It has us discussing it. It had Flakko make a video on it. So I think Joe Budden knew what he was doing and bringing Akademiks up in that lawsuit. And this was exactly what he wanted out of it.
Favorable commentary like Akademiks do for you. Like when Joe was involved in the sleepwalking thing, right? Where Joe is showing up nude to somebody's door, like he was sleepwalking. Akademiks like didn't say, hey, Joe's on trial, man. Joe, man, listen, man, I think you're guilty, man. This is bad. Nah, Akademiks said, hey, Joe, my God, man, Joe wouldn't do nothing like that and kept it pushing. But when Joe offered up this commentary, it made Akademiks mad.
See, but that's what a guy like Flakko doesn't understand. That's what comes with a friendship between two guys that are tight. We know what buttons to push. And quite frankly, something like if I was Joe Budden and I got caught out in the open, naked, at first, in the moment, it might seem like a serious issue. I might be going through something. But 2 years down the line, my mental state is straight. Bro, I'm not gonna have any hard feelings over you cracking some jokes. Matter of fact, as a close friend of mine, I expect you to crack some jokes, because what type of sane person is gonna be out in the open walking butt naked? You get what I mean? So again, this is something that I feel like Flakko may not or he may, but he's just not conveying that. But from what he's saying, it doesn't seem like he understands how a regular friendship works. They're just throwing small shots at each other. I don't think what either guy said was going to deteriorate their public image.
Pissed off, and Ak even responded back to it because it felt like Joe was indicting him and saying, Ak is guilty of everything these folks are accusing Akademiks of, like before even knowing exactly what Akademiks is actually doing.
People, then it's a big deal.
See, that's my point. Like,
You don't see it as misleading.
Yeah, I don't see it as misleading.
I say I could be a little.
I watch Akademiks do. I watch him do hours of commentary about hip hop in front of a steak screen, in front of a steak poker table,
right,
pretending to. I don't know if it's pretending, but seeming like he's gambling his money. You can't do that.
Is it confirmed that he's not gambling his money?
I don't know any of that, but that's for their investigation. But that's why they're saying we've investigated. Nobody's saying that they're connected to this company. So if we find out that there's a link somewhere and that they giving you money to do certain things, you're done so. I mean, I think that makes all the sense in the world.
But you're saying the steak table and a steak little logo at the bottom of the screen and all of that other stuff, that doesn't say advertisement dollars?
I don't know if this is indicting the man or not, but I do know that occasionally he goes on Kick and he does gambling streams. He'll go on there and he'll gamble, whether that's his own money or stakes money, I'm not sure. But he's far from the only guy who's doing that. There are, even though he's the #1 hip-hop media personality today, there are plenty of other bigger fish out there who do the same thing. I mean, the biggest artist in the world, he'll go on stream and he'll just gamble away some money. Now, again, I'm not a lawyer. I can't provide any legal advice. All I can say is everybody's doing it. So if you're going to take one fish down, you better take the rest of them down. And at that point, you might as well take the main source, which is Stake, down, right? Is what Stake doing illegal? They're running everywhere. Streamers, every other streamer you watch has a Stake deal. So,
or that doesn't say this is an ad.
Yeah, but now when you turn around, because what they're speaking to is when they turn around and post their slips, and it's like, I wagered this amount and I won this. But if you didn't really wager that amount, because you're giving,
they might have got promo funds or whatever the case may be.
Akademiks did not like that at all. Ak did not like that. Ak was severely annoyed, right? And the reason why Ak was annoyed, because Akademiks felt like Joe Budden was kind of like throwing shade and hiding his hand, and Ak felt like the hand that he was throwing was not all the way clean. Ak got spicy with Joe. Ak brought the fact that Joe had the Prize Pick contract. Prize Picks, right? I think part of the deal was like Joe and them would do like where they will pick certain odds and certain bets like during the show. Like at the end of every show, they will pick, you know, like who they believe will go up and under in terms of points or touchdowns or whatever. Now, do I feel like Joe and them, you know, every time they did that, Ashley went to the Prize Pick app and put a bet on certain dudes? I don't, right? It's all a part of the hustle. So I can say, hold on, bro, if you got the Prize Pick hustle, why you trying to make me look crazy to your audience for me being signed to
We're not about to. Yo, they ain't got to be all the way clean. Like, what I took from it was just that he was basically saying gambling is like infiltrating hip hop commentary, and I'm like, bro, y'all biggest sponsors, you went to the Super Bowl for Prize Picks.
Gambling is infiltrating all of entertainment and sports, media, honestly, all of American culture. 10 years ago, you would have never imagined that every other advertisement would be telling you to place a bet. We'll give you $50 if you come place your first bet, your first parlay. It is insane how quickly the sports betting apps has just taken over everybody's mind. Now, I understand that it's a way to make some quick money, and that's always enticing. However, you got to remember that 99.9% of the time, you're not making any real money. And all it's doing is feeding into that addiction. So you're 18 years old, 19, 20 years old, because best believe these are the kids that are placing these bets, these parlays, not just the older folk. Rest assured that these 18 and 19-year-olds, they're going to grow a severe gambling addiction by the time they're 25, let alone 30. Imagine them placing continuous bets, and every once in a while, they'll hit for a couple $100s. That's deteriorating everybody's mind. It's not infiltrating just hip-hop. It's definitely taken over at least all of America.
Are we serious? Prize Picks is not even allowed to be. It's quasi gambling. Like, if anything, Prize Picks like is doing more loopholes than anybody. Prize Picks, even in Jersey, not even allowed for certain. It's only allowed for one thing. So it's like, bro, I can't talk with these about nothing like that.
Yeah, where I'm from,
you know what I mean?
I don't think they allow Prize Picks.
I think right after he said that, he did a Prize Picks. I couldn't believe it, bro. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is getting out of hand, bro. This is getting out of hand. I love Joe, though.
But that also goes to show that rules aren't solid. If you know the law, you know there are loopholes to everything, and there are ways to play the system into your hand.
What's our favorite part of the show? I'm like, yo, cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out. Prize Picks.
I'm sure they're probably friends in real life, but it's passive aggressiveness back and forth. Even Akademiks is dissing Joe Budden co-host because Ak felt like Joe was allowing the co-host to diss him. And Ak went on, I'm talking about a crazy cook of the Mona chick who be on the Joe Budden podcast. Akademiks made fun of her stroke and all type of things because, again, she unprovokingly came for Akademiks, right? And then even past that, because I don't feel like Joe even cared about like the Mona thing. Akademiks, when he was doing, you know, like the Iceman rollout, right? Akademiks went off on Joe Budden, Charlamagne the God, and others because he felt like they were trying to position themselves as insiders for Iceman, right? And fake leak information they thought they were leaking when Drake doesn't communicate with them, and they essentially had no information whatsoever. So Ak felt like they were kind of just throwing things out there that they heard about Iceman, trying to position themselves as insiders to kind of take away from what Ak was doing. And when Joe heard that, Joe came back on his podcast and asked Akademiks if he want beef and smoke.
And
before he gets into that, this is why you have to not just be careful who you become friends with, but also understand who you become friends with. What do I mean by that? I mean that Joe Budden has never strayed away from the fact that he's a bit petty. He's a jealous type. He's a guy who, if the circumstances fit, he's willing to feel envy and show it. So when he comes in wanting to copy what Akademiks is doing just to kind of take away some shine from it, are you surprised? Akademiks, as a person who's been Joe's friend for X amount of years, 7, 8, 9 years, you shouldn't be surprised. You should know exactly who you're dealing with. That's what I mean by Flakko must not have had any solid relationships, or at least long-term friendships. Why? Because you would then understand that as a man, you gotta have some tough skin. I mean, as a woman too, in this world is brutal, but you just gotta have tough skin. And something as simple as throwing some shots at you podcast to podcast, you gotta remember it's a business and it's gonna generate views. I'm like 90% sure this is exactly what it is. They can go sit down at a bar tonight and share a drink, and this won't even come up in conversation. 90% sure.
One, DJ Akademiks.
Ak, what up?
What up, Ak?
Ak, what up, bro?
Salute. Congrats.
Ak, I hear you, little stream. Want war? Hey, what's up? You try to turn?
What? You want what?
I gotta call my man to see what's going on.
I've been hearing something. I didn't know what went wrong. I've been hearing something. I've been hearing something.
I feel like all the people that was on Drake's side, is just time for them to get their with Iceman coming, so I'm not really. I feel like that's what it is.
You think you just collateral damage?
Nah, but
I was on the other side of this, and then we had the state conversation that he replied to. I don't know. I just got to call my man, see what's going on. But 1 and 2, 2 and 1, tomato. Again,
Potato,
the same. What he wants to do, step it up out there.
Shout out to everybody on the list, man.
Word, shouts to the list.
Ak, congrats.
I'm gonna lie, I do miss that about the Joe Budden podcast. I used to watch it back when it was Joe, Rory, and Mal, and I stopped watching it after the breakup. But those little, like, just Joe laughing just to laugh, saying some dumb stuff, I feel like that's almost a little niche of his, where sometimes just hearing someone else's laughter kind of invokes this might be kind of funny too, and you just start laughing just to laugh too. It's kind of funny how it goes.
On number 1,
at least
you
me,
guys,
I don't know.
Congrats on number 2.
Salute.
The rest of you work harder.
Queen's Flip called it out. Queen's Flip told Joe, hey, man, I've been hearing some things, hey, bro, I've been hearing. You think if Queen's Flip heard
Terrible
Akademiks throwing shots or dissing before this podcast that he didn't tell Joe? You think Queen's Flip heard that and then, his first time bringing it up was on the podcast? Absolutely not. They've been discussing this. They've been talking about this. Joe feel away, Ak feel away. All right. Now, I feel like for Ak, he kind of feels like, it's a part of the game. And for the most part, Ak has been responding. Ak has not been the aggressor. Ak has been responding. So for Joe to be the initiator and the aggressor of most of these things, and then when Ak responds, he tell Ak, hey, Ak, you sure you want war, bro? Hey, I game froggy, bro. Hey, Ak, you sure you get? Hey, bro, you sure?
Yeah,
that's Joe's.
He didn't say it in that tone. He clearly was joking. He said, and I quote, "Let me call my mans." Like, bro, it's not that serious.
Still trying to big dog Ak. That's Joe trying to assert his dominance and kind of let Ak know, hey, bro, you won't win this. And to say that and to have those sentiments in the middle of a conversation of y'all talking about Akademiks being named as the #1 hip-hop personality and Joe being named #2, to me is shady. It's passive-aggressive, right? Right after you say, hey, Ak just got #1. Then you say, hey, Ak, you been getting frog.
I don't think Joe, if he does feel that way, should feel that way. Because for so many years, he's always gotten his flowers as the rapper who turned his career around and turned into a successful podcaster. Akademiks, however, for so many years has had to struggle and claw for that position. This is a man who a year or two ago got surpassed by Kai Cenat. Now, I know Kai Cenat was huge. I understand that. But what I mean by that is Akademiks has been putting in so many years of work. And it's just now that the man is starting to get recognition as the #1 hip-hop personality. When really, he's been due since about 2021. When he first did that Takeoff coverage, when Takeoff, rest in peace Takeoff, was murdered, that's when I started noticing that everybody comes to him when it comes to the big hip-hop news. Before then, it could have been an argument with X, Y, Z. But it's been a solid 4 or 5 year run for this man. And we're only in year 1, maybe 2 of him getting recognition as a top hip hop personality. Before then, he was a cornball with no valid opinion. Now his opinion means everything.
Bro, you sure you want to smoke? That's crazy. I'm sorry. I'm not instigating, bro. That's crazy. That's absurd. That's insane. It's insane. And then even the tomato comment. #1 and #2 ain't tomato and tomato. #1, right, is Wagyu. #2 is Hamburger Helper. I'm sorry, homie. That's just, I ain't create the rules, bruh. It ain't the same. #1, you are on the throne. #2, again, #1 is you are on the throne. #2, you are first in, you are still in the crowd. You just got a front row seat to the crown. That's it. #1, you're sitting on top of the throne of hip hop. #2, you got front row seats to the crown. You still a part of the other folks. It ain't tomato, bro. No. There ain't no seat next to the throne for #2, bro. Straight up. I'm sorry.
You're reaching there, bro, because if you were named #2 hip-hop personality, you'd be bragging up and down Broadway about being #2 hip-hop personality. So stop it, Flakko. I understand the analogy, but in this context, it's just not the right one to use. So I think you struck out on this one, bud.
Now, this was one of the biggest weeks for Akademiks. Akademiks was part of the Drake rollout. He made the album. He on a private jet to Toronto, met Drake, got an OVO.
Like, look, he just got to be a part of Drake's Iceman rollout. This is a man who's probably been Drake's #1 supporter since Headline, since Take Care, since the early 2010s when Drake was first debuting. And he's just now getting some shine from the man. From an artist who he got interviewed by the Bobby Orndorff, he got interviewed by Elliot Wilson. These are a bunch of dudes who, while they may have listened to his music, they're not going to give you the in-depth interview that an Akademiks would bring if he were to get an opportunity to sit down with Drake one-on-one. Now, with the Iceman rollout, we didn't get an interview. He just got to be a part of the rollout. But I believe that this is going to be the beginning to assembling that Drake Akademiks one-on-one interview. And best believe that when that drops, it's going to be Drake's biggest interview. Because at the end of the day, everybody knows that the #1 Drake fan is DJ Akademiks. So
this Iceman drop was probably just as big for Akademiks as it was for Drake. You know what Joe did? Instead of congratulating, showing crazy love, Joe hops on a Twitter space and disrespects Akademiks to the fullest. This is probably the most disrespectful thing anybody could say about the #1 hip-hop media personality, about somebody who has dedicated their livelihood and their life to covering the culture and covering music for the last, 15 years of Akademiks' life has been doing music reviews and covering hip-hop. Here's what Joe had to say about the #1 media personality.
It's a niche. If you're talking about the like hip-hop has changed to the point where Akademiks' version of what hip hop is, maybe.
But you just talking about rappers, Danny. I'm talking about how it started, when it started, why it was started, what it looked like in every phase of it. I'm talking about hip hop as a whole, and Ak really probably doesn't know much about that.
And I don't think people know about what it is now, this phase. And I think
that take right there is exactly why Joe Budden didn't make it as a rapper. He had Pump It Up and never had another hit song after that. I understand it's good to know history, but at the end of the day, the people whose listen matters in hip-hop don't give two damns about the origin, what it's supposed to be, how it started. Bro, we don't care. Is the music good? Does it sound right? Does it fit the era and the time for me to go out and party and use it as the background to my life? That's all that matters. That opinion is null and void. And it shows again why great podcaster, terrible rapper.
All of it is history of but
fair.
Yeah. So to me, don't be surprised if people look at B Dot like Ak. And I think they just don't have a platform like the rest of the old heads do.
And I think
Danny, you got to beat up because of the resume. I get it.
I'm pretty sure B Dot has more information about Drake and Jay-Z's situation than an Akademiks.
No.
Yes.
No.
You thought Kanye was going to be on this album, Black King. Stop talking.
Most definitely.
No.
Yeah, I said a few people was going to be on the album. I even thought that Drake would piece it up with Jay-Z and he would possibly be on the album. I didn't know it was that deep.
I think B-Dot.
Sorry, they've been through this before.
I think when it comes to news, Akademiks is pretty hot, and B-Dot is kind of...
No, I agree with that. I'm saying B-Dot has a lot of other...
See, and for so many years, it was exactly that. Akademiks is, he knows what he's doing, but he's a cornball. His opinion isn't valid. Like, which one is it? You want to give him the credit or you don't? And that's what still, look, to this day, he's named the #1 hip-hop media personality, and he's still getting looked down upon. I understand not everybody's going to be your fan, but bro, respect is respect. Respect is respect.
Information when it comes to hip-hop that I don't think that Akademiks has.
Respect me.
That's a fact.
I mean, he do be on Spotify Green Room. But anybody...
I was going to circle it back to the point.
Danny's so shady.
That's a big deal.
The criticism of saying that somebody's not a hip hop fan, they're just a blank insert whatever artist fan, that isn't to negate the information they know about hip hop. It's to say that their love of one specific artist will never usurp their knowledge or critique of other sides of hip hop.
I think that's just, B. Elliott fall into that. I think they're just older versions of Ak who like Drake. Anyway, I thought somebody had their hand up. I don't know. I mean, Chino.
The full context of this conversation was Akademiks being at the forefront of hip-hop media and being knowledgeable. Joe came off his mic, and this was the only time Joe was off his mic during this conversation, where Joe came off his mic to say, listen, Akademiks doesn't know much about hip-hop. He's not that knowledgeable about the history of hip-hop, about music in general. Akademiks is a fan of Drake. That's it. And to me, to pick this time in this climate to say that, it feels like I don't know. It feels like Joe is going out of his way to discredit Akademiks because he's salty about Akademiks being named the #1 hip hop media personality.
No, what I think it is Ak just got named the #1 hip hop media personality, and Joe's going to talk about it to get some views, and he's probably going to milk it as long as he can. Joe has a knack for going viral every few months. This is just his timing and his way of going viral this time. Is Joe hating on Ak? Is there friction between Akademiks and Joe? And that's all it is. And come to find out, they're the best of friends. They're having mimosas on top of a New Jersey building somewhere.
That's just me, though. Now, a lot of y'all might agree with Joe, but nonetheless, again, I don't agree with Joe. I do think Akademiks is knowledgeable on music and hip-hop. But even if you agree with Joe, you have to agree that Joe, being Akademiks' friend, should not be saying that publicly, especially if covering music and having a voice and being credible is Akademiks' livelihood. Why would you, as Akademiks' friend, want to interfere with that? To me, that's not cool. Like, at all whatsoever, that's not cool. And I think the fans kind of understand that too, because, the entire reaction is, you can see people say, listen, bruh, no, now they're discrediting the #1 person in hip hop media because he's a Drake fan. Joe is good at being a fake friend. People spotted it. I personally think, bruh, the Akademiks and Joe Budden beef and Cold War is on us. If I'm Akademiks, yo, peep all the slick jabs and slick shots. For Joe to say this in a moment where you're having your biggest moment, hey, man, this is some fake stuff, man, but y'all let me know.
All right, so it looks like that's the end of the video there. I think that Joe Budden is just playing into his character, into who he is actually, and just finding a way to remain in people's conversations. Joe Budden and Akademiks are most likely the best of friends. And if they were given the appropriate opportunity to start a show, they would start it yesterday. Not tomorrow, yesterday. That's how well off I think their relationship is. So this was pretty much just overblown, a friendly back and forth. And although it may seem sometimes like they're teetering that line of disrespect, they're all right. Joe Budden's always been known as a bit of a hater, an envious, jealous guy. That's always been his thing. And it seems like the older he's gotten, he's either gotten pettier or he's smart enough to learn to lean into it, because that's what's going to bring in the money. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, guys. It's Jahji here. If you like this reaction, want to watch any other videos like this, I upload daily. Make sure you hit that notification button. You like, you subscribe, you comment, you share with a friend, and have that friend share with a friend. And get ready for this ride. I upload content on reactions, music, WWE, sports, specifically baseball. And I have anything overall to keep you interested when you need some entertainment. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and until next time, Jahji out.
Thanks for watching. Let me know what you'd like to watch next.